Well, there will be no Las Vegas for the Sacramento Kings. They get knocked out in the knockout round, 127 to 117. Going solo here on this post-game show, so I appreciate all of you that are joining me here on what is not a good night for the Sacramento Kings. And again, they gave up too many points in the first half. It's been a repetitive pattern on this homestand. New Orleans had 69 at the break, and Jerry Reynolds on with me at halftime earlier. Hit it right on the head. He said 120 would win this game. 120 did win the game. 127 to 117. You know, I look at this game two different ways. Matchups. The Kings don't match up well with New Orleans. That's why New Orleans has won all three games. The other thing is New Orleans made threes without taking a lot of attempts, and the Kings did not. Before that last three at the end, New Orleans were 14 of 30. They ended up 14 of 31. And the Kings were 14 of 41. Think about that. The Kings took 10 more threes and missed them all, right? Both teams with 14, but only 31 attempts for New Orleans at 45%, and Sacramento's three-point shooting at 34%. There you have it. No other way to say it. The Kings lost to a team that probably better than them in terms of matchups. They're not better with the overall record, but you want to play this team in the playoffs if you're Sacramento? Not if they're healthy. I wouldn't. And guess what? They had McCollum, excuse me. CJ added 17 points on 14 shots. Fox did not shoot the ball well. You know, you look at his numbers. He was 10 of 25. He missed 6 threes. He missed 4 free throws. Yeah, I know he ends up with 30 points, and I know he's the current Western Conference Player of the Week, and that's all fine and dandy. But Fox did not have a good game, period. He had 6 turnovers, and he had 4 assists. That's not good. Yet the Kings' assist-to-turnover ratio in this game was very good, but not for Fox. Didn't play well. Played 40 minutes. Again, 10 of 25, 1 of 7 from downtown, 9 of 13 line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 turnovers. Paging Harrison Barnes, would you please report to the nearest courtesy phone? Thank you very much. It would be the purple one up against the wall. Paging Harrison Barnes, where are you? We haven't been able to find you. We haven't been able to locate you. We don't see you. Paging Harrison Barnes. Plays 34 minutes. Took 3 shots. What are you doing out there? What are you doing out there? And I love Harrison Barnes. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 basket in 34 minutes. The hell are you doing out there? Where are you? I mean, it may be time to, make a change in that starting lineup because Harrison Barnes is giving you nothing. 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 Disappointing. 127 to 117. Anyone in Sacramento going to be watching the Final Four, the semifinals, or the finals in Vegas? I'm not. Are you? You have any interest? By the way, we should point this out. A very sad moment in the arena tonight in the first quarter as the Kings put out a statement that a fan passed away at the arena. Very sad. We're sitting here and bitching and moaning about the Kings losing a game. Somebody lost their life at the game. And from what I understand, from what I read, it was a young man. I think they said he was in his 30s. The medics performed CPR and tried to resuscitate him, but unsuccessfully. So, I don't like the saying that, you got to keep things in perspective. But, I mean, think about that. Somebody was going to the game tonight, just like 18,000 others, and he died. and we're sitting here talking about making shots or missing shots. Very sad. Very sad indeed. But, again, life goes on, right? We talk about the game, but I'm glad you put that message out there on the screen for us because that is sad. And rest in peace, Rest in peace. I don't know whether it was a heart attack, Lydia, or not. I really don't. I really don't. I don't know anything more than what the Kings put out. Lydia said heart attack. I don't know. All I know is it's very sad. Very sad indeed. All right, we got Serbia checking in. I don't love to say this, but maybe this is the reality of this team. If Harrison Barnes is going to play good every fourth game, sack him. I get you. So sad to hear that about young man. Yes, very sad indeed. Thank you for all the prayers and everything else coming in. But I will say this. You love this? You love my shirt? What's that Dortmund logo? Is that what I'm wearing? I liked it. It's a nice looking shirt. And I'm like, I like that. The Dortmund logo, huh? I don't even know what that is. Sorry. I obviously didn't buy it for the logo, 127 to 117. Thank you very much for joining me here on the postgame. Ryan is off tonight as he is down in SoCal. Do want to tell you about New Works Plumbing. They've been with me from day one. Really appreciate everything they do. You go to sackserviceplumbing.com or you just call that number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they do have a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7 for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. Go to sackserviceplumbing.com or just call that number on your screen. Kings lose by 10. Pretty much where the game was at the half, right? Pretty much where they were at the half. So now you lose a home game and you got time to think about it and you move on and you try to figure out whether or not Coach Brown's going to make any lineup changes. I don't want to be putting all of this on Harrison Barnes, but he's a starter, all right? And he's playing that many minutes and he's doing nothing. Like he took 3 shots in 34 minutes. Like, what's that all about? Huh? Like, explain that to me, would you please? And again, I love all the messages coming in, but man, oh man, oh man. Brutal, Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. All right, again, love the messages. Keep them coming. I'm not going to put a lot of them up on the screen. You can see them, all right? But I'll just say that this is a disappointing game for everything that's at stake, all right? So no one on the Kings is going to be getting 500 large. That's not happening. Not happening. Plain and simple. 127 to 117, the final. I'm looking at the score. So the Kings come out on fire, right? They're up 15. They're up 15 points before you realize that the game even started. I mean, they came out on fire. Keegan Murray blistering, all right? Absolutely blistering. On absolute fire. Kings are up, running them off the floor, up 15 in the first quarter, and then they freaking fall asleep, Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. I'm looking at some of the other numbers here. And the turnovers were good. The assists were good. I'm looking at box score here. Assist to turnover ratio, very good. The Kings lost because they didn't hit threes. What do we say? Live by the 3, die by the 3, right? Is there any other reason why the Kings lost this game other than the fact they don't match up well against New Orleans? Right? I mean, I'm looking at the numbers. You tell me what sticks out. I know the Kings, again, missed a lot of threes. I get that. All right? I get it. But, man, incredible. And what's the deal with Sacramento giving up 70 points every half to start the game? You came back from the Warriors on that. You didn't come back from the Clippers, and you didn't come back tonight. 69 points tonight, not 70. But come on now, right? Come on now. No, it's not turnovers. I see a message, turnovers. Kings took care of the ball tonight. I got the numbers right here. They had 13 turnovers. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just not making threes, you know? And the reality is, if you are going to live and die by the three, then you got to be ready to go with it. I'm so done with Barnes. Barely even notice he's on the floor most of the time. Then we get Keegan. People on him. It's in his head. Way too hesitant. He's another starter that is wildly inconsistent. Does Keegan Murray ever play 2 good games back to back this year? We didn't want to go to Vegas. Yeah, tell that to the guys that aren't going to get $500,000. Come on now. Right? Well, Tyrese Halliburton's not on the Kings. He's on the Pacers, and he had a triple-double tonight. He's good. But guess what? De'Aaron Fox is very, very, very good too. De'Aaron Fox is an elite player in this league. So I'm not going to start the Halliburton and Fox debate. They're both excellent at what they do. No debate on Bennett's for what they do either. They're great. I mean, their food is outstanding. Their Bennett's West Side Grill is their newest restaurant of the 3, Fair Oaks and Howe in Sacramento, Eureka Road and Lead Hill Road in Roseville, and this Bennett's West Side Grill at the Blue Oaks Town Center in Rockland. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com and you can check out their menu, make a reservation, and more. Prime seafood and steak at Bennett's. 60 different types of wine available by the glass. Big King supporters as well. Go in and say hello to Brian and his crew. They do a great job at Bennett's. Their West Side Grill, again, their newest location at the Blue Oaks Town Center in Rockland. Final score tonight, 127 to 117. And I love all the messages. And, well, you're right. You're right. You can't give up 127 and expect to win. You're absolutely correct. What did I say at halftime with Jerry Reynolds? Not that Jerry doesn't know that. You're going to give up the amount of points the Kings are giving up every night. You're not going to win the way you want to win. In other words, you're going to be affected at the end of the year with your wins and losses. You might make the playoffs, but you have no chance of succeeding in the playoffs when you're as poor defensively as Sacramento. And think about this. You played New Orleans 3 times in 2 weeks, and they have won all 3 games. And they won the first 2 without McCollum. Right? Think about that. CJ didn't even play in the first 2 games. And they blew you out in the first game, and they beat you in a back-and-forth game in game 2. And tonight, it looked like lights out early, and the Pelicans just stayed with their game and stayed with their game and stayed with their game. And what happened? They won the game. Kings don't have anyone that can guard Brandon Ingram. We know that. He had a field day out there tonight. 30 points on 20 shots, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Anyone on the Kings can guard Brandon Ingram? Nobody can guard him. 3 games we've seen that. Nobody can guard Brandon Ingram. Have you seen anyone on the Kings that can guard Brandon Ingram? Raise your hand if you can. I'm looking in the audience. I do see a little kid out there. He's got his hand raised. You want to go? Yeah, you can go to the restroom. Fine, no problem. You have my permission. Go to the restroom. No other hands out there. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Disappointing loss because of everything that was going on in this game. 127 to 117. And if I'm Mike Brown, I'm looking at making some changes here with this homestand. I don't panic as a coach, but I got to try another starter instead of Harrison Barnes. And Murray had 8 points coming out of the locker room tonight, right? And he ended up with 14. So he didn't do much after the first, 4 minutes? He had 8 points in the first, 3.5 minutes? So the rest of the way, he only scored 6 points. Here's the other deal. Murray didn't do anything on the glass. He had 4 rebounds in 31 minutes. He had 1 assist. Is his back bothering him? I know he went into the locker room, but he said he was fine. He got treatment. He's coming back out. You either can play or you can't play. All right? I don't want to hear about the injuries. All right? If you can't play, don't play. That's the way I look at that. Very disappointing. There's no other way to say it. 127 to 117. And, I'm tired of hearing about potential when you say Keegan has the potential to be able to guard Ingram, but he can't right now. Why can't he right now? You either can guard him or you can't guard him, People talking about Kevin Huerter. Well, Kevin Huerter, again, you don't know what you're going to get night in, night out from him. He was 2 of 7 from 3 in this game. There you have it. And here's the other issue. How many games are you going to be playing Fox 40 minutes every night? What's going to happen to Fox when you get to, the meat of the schedule? And by the meat, I'm talking about after the All-Star break, when you have to, every game is a playoff caliber seeding type of a game. He's playing a lot of minutes. So, are you disappointed? I'm disappointed, right? Am I overdoing this tonight? I think this is a bad loss. You know why it's a bad loss? Forget about the in-season tournament. I don't care about that. It's a bad loss because this team had already beat you twice. You're at full strength. I know Duarte didn't play, but the Pelicans had a couple guys out. You're basically at full strength at home, TNT, with a lot on the line. And you lose by double digits. I don't have a problem with the free throws. Someone said, too many missed free throws. You shoot 81% from the line, I'm okay with that. 27 to 33, I'll live with that. The Pelicans were at 82%. Free throws didn't lose the game. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you. You know why you lost the game? Because you can't make any threes when you need to. There you have it. You were right about that. Too many Jim Bob Bowleys. All right. Too many Jim Bob Bowleys by the Pelicans tonight. You're exactly right. Oh boy. Well, I just talked about this. I just said the same thing about what happened in New Orleans. All right. I get that. Said, don't forget, you get smoked by 36, then lose again and come back home with a chance to get them back. And you blow the lead like that. I wouldn't say they blew the lead like that. A 15-point lead in the first quarter is nothing in the NBA. It really means nothing. But when you made a run in the second half and you got to within, 5, you had a critical possession, you take a bad shot, maybe you turn the ball over. And then when you need to stop, this team can't stop anybody. When's the last time you saw the Kings get stops in succession to win a game? Right? It's not who they are. It's not what they do. You know who they are? They're a team that beats you with their offense. And, 117 can win you a lot of games in this league. But not when you give up 127. Not when you give up 127. You're not winning a lot of games in this league giving up 127. Sometimes you will. When you're making all your shots. But you give up 127 on a regular basis. And I'll tell you something else. How big does that Warriors win look right now? Where, the Warriors really, they put it on a platter and the Kings said, thank you very much. What do you think we'd be talking about right now if the Kings had lost that game to the Warriors? Because the Clippers came in and spanked them. Now the Kings get spanked tonight. You got to be a little concerned. You got to be a little concerned right now if you're Sacramento. 127 to 117. And nothing you can do about this game. You got to figure out, and I think Mike Brown's got to figure out what to do with Harrison Barnes. I think you got to make a change there. Hey, I want to tell you about CalusaSunrise.com and Blazona Development with this great project. It's called Sunrise Landing. And if you go to CalusaSunrise.com, you can check out one of their 6 models. They are already in the second and third phases. Phase 1 is sold out. No Mellorews, no homeowners at Sunrise Landing in Calusa. Just go to CalusaSunrise.com and check everything out. Again, that's CalusaSunrise.com and Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. Right now, the Kings, they're still in the locker room getting ready to head out, and there will be no Vegas. No flights, no hotels, nothing. No money, no 500 grand, because you just lost. Again, I'm not talking about hitting the panic button now. I'm not going that far. You don't hit the panic button because you lose to a good team. But that's where I'm at. But, all right. To me, I'm looking at that as a but. You lost to a team that you're battling with in the standings, and now you've lost 3 times to them. 3 times to them. All right. Ryan is down in SoCal. All right. Sabonis said we're shot chuckers like the 2016 Rockets, a cheap brand of offense. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd go that far. And the reason why I say that is Harden is a ball dominant player. And so that's a little bit different, Appreciate the super chat donation. Sabonis reminds me of Vladio 2, not athletic enough. I don't agree with you on that. And he's a 3-time All-Star. What's wrong with that? He may not be a superstar, but I'm not so sure I agree with that. By the way, with the loss, all right, Sacramento is 11-8, and they drop a spot from 4th to 5th in the West, and they're now even in the loss column. Well, they're even, period, with Dallas, who's 11-8. Minnesota 15-4. Oklahoma City 13-6. Denver 14-7. Phoenix, Sacramento, Dallas. And let's be honest here. You took on Denver without Jamal Murray, and you almost lost that game. So maybe the Kings aren't as good as we think. I'm saying maybe. Maybe they're not as good as we think. All right? I don't agree with you that 11-8 is a bad record. I don't agree with you. I think that 11-8 could be better and should be better, considering that you missed Fox for 5 games. I don't agree with you it's a bad record. I don't think it's a very good record, but I don't think it's a bad record. I don't know if I would agree with you on that. It's not a bad record. All right? Not a bad record. I mean, you are 5th in the West, Bucky. You're 5th in the West. All right? Says Kings will only win 45 games. Well, 45 wins is pretty good, by the way, and we'll get you into the playoffs. All right? Says, I'll take 11-8 based on how many bad seasons we've had. Coach Mike made a huge mistake. The one and only who can guard Ingram is Lyles. He should have sacrificed him to play all the way to the end, and that could be it. I'm having a difficult time second-guessing Mike Brown, the unanimous reigning coach of the year. Now, I know that was last year. All right? So somebody says 5th for how long? I won't hold my breath just yet. 5th in the West, but fading, Grant. I hear you. Harrison Barnes getting killed here. He doesn't offer anything. I'm not even going to get into it. He offers a lot. But you see the lack of productivity on the court tonight. I can't defend that. But when you say he doesn't add anything, you're mistaken. I know I was in the locker room and traveling with this team every day, and I was around Harrison Barnes every day. He adds a lot to this team that you don't see. But I understand. All right? I get it. I understand where you're coming from. I think that you got to change the starting lineup. I think you got to change the starting lineup. I don't have a problem with that. There you have it. All right. Again, the final 127-117. I don't have a lot to add. I'm fine taking the messages and everything else. But they're saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's some things that are broken on this Kings team. I've now watched them play enough. All right. I always use 20 games as a barometer. They're at 19. I already know what the Kings' identity is. You know what their identity is? It's the same as it was last year. When they're making shots, they're going to win a lot of games. And by shots, I mean 3. And when they don't make threes, they're not going to win games because guess what? They don't have any other way they can beat you. They can't beat you in a slugfest. They can't beat you in a physical game. They can't beat you in a low-scoring game because their defense is not good enough. So it's a Jekyll and Hyde team right now. It's Jekyll and Hyde because they only win when they shoot the ball well. Now, that's not atypical for teams around the league with the way the game's played. Normally, when you look at all the box scores every night, just look at the three-point shooting. That very often will determine who wins the game. But there are teams that are in the West, and we'll keep it to the West right now, who, when they don't shoot the ball particularly well, can still win games. The Kings really don't have that type of a team. And they are who they are, and you have to accept that, right? They are who they are. They're a good team. They're not a great team. They could be a very good team. I don't see them ever being a great team. When I mean ever, I don't see this year. They could be a very good team, you know? Yeah, hey, congratulations to Jake Browning from Folsom High School. He was outstanding tonight. Said Bengals quarterback Jake Browning had the game of his life tonight. He had one of the best games I've seen in the NFL this year. Thank you for the message. Couldn't we figure out how to play Fox and Hallie together? Listen, we're not going there, okay? And I appreciate the donate. And I'll tell you why. Pelicans much more physical and longer. That's true. You want to know why we're not going there? You made a trade to bring in a all-star, two-time all-star, who last year became a third-time all-star, and you were third in the West last year. Don't forget that, okay? Halliburton and the Pacers, they didn't make the playoffs last year. They weren't in the playoffs, all right? So, let's kind of cool it a little bit. Now, I like Indiana, but guess what their record is? Their record is the same record as the Kings, 11-8. And why are they 11-8? Because they have Tyrese Halliburton. Why are the Kings 11-8 and coming off a thrilling 7-game series against the Warriors where they were third in the West with 48 wins? Because they have Fox and Sabonis. That's why. So, listen, I love Tyrese Halliburton too. If you had both players available for general managers around the league, I think some would take Halliburton, but I think the majority would take Fox. I would take Fox over Halliburton. So, again, as far as, could have they figured out to play together? But no, they really couldn't. Again, it's a good trade for both teams. I think we have to acknowledge that. It's a good trade for both teams. I don't think we need to go there. I know Halliburton had a great game tonight against the Celtics. Ken, he's a hell of a player. I like watching him play. He's tremendous in the locker room. And Lydia just said it best. We knew Hallie was going to be a star player. That's correct. No way the majority takes Fox. I completely disagree with you. I think over 15 general managers take De'Aaron Fox over Tyrese Halliburton. All right? I disagree with you. I think more would take Fox than Halliburton. And again, I love Halliburton. We're comparing, really good to really good. I disagree with you on that. I disagree with you. And we're never going to find out. All right? Time to bench Barnes for Sasha Vezenkov. I don't think Sasha's even remotely close to starting. All right? I would start Lyles. I would move around my front line. I would do whatever I have to do to make that forward position more productive. And this is it. Let it go. I agree with you. Let it go is right. Yeah, I'm tired of talking about it. Can we just applaud the fact that both are really good, both are all-stars, and both are the best players on their respective teams? Is that okay? Thank you. It's tough when you lose, isn't it? Tough when you lose. And the Kings lost tonight. And, again, I keep on talking about this. They're the only team in the top 6 with a negative point differential, just under a point. The other team in the top 10 with a negative point differential, the Lakers at minus 1.0. That stat doesn't lie. You want to know why that stat doesn't lie? Because it's really hard to win a lot of games in this league when you give up more points than you score. Okay? That's really true of most sports, is it not? True of most sports. You give up more points than you score, you're probably going to lose. That point differential has got to change for Sacramento. It's got to be in the green, not the red. Everyone else in the top 10, with the exception of the Lakers, is in the green by a wide margin, by the way. All right, it's not just like 0.01, 0.02. Well, Dallas is, but other than Dallas, everyone's at least 1.0 or more. So, thank you for the numbers. Says tonight, Sabonis 26, 13, and 10. Halliburton 26, 10, and 13. The big difference is the Pacers won and the Kings lost. But, I can't blame that on Sabonis, There you have it. I didn't see the game. It said the Pacers had a 1-minute stretch very late in the fourth quarter where they outscored the Celtics 9-0, turning a 105 tie into a 114-105 Pacers lead. Thanks for the update. I did not see that. I was not aware of that. What I am aware of is the Kings had a 15-point lead, and from that point forward, it was all New Orleans. Dominated. They went up by 15, okay, and they end up winning by 10. Lights out, end of story, and we'll wrap it up. That's it. Nothing else to say. Disappointing. And again, rest in peace and prayers to the gentleman that passed away tonight at the game, and to the family members of that individual. We offer our condolences. That's awful. It's very sad indeed. And I don't have anything else to add. I never was witness to that in an arena in my 32 years of covering the NBA. And I saw some things, but I didn't ever see anyone lose their life at the arena. So our thoughts and prayers are with that individual's loved ones. On that note, we'll say so long. Thank you for joining me right here on If You Don't Like That. Bye-bye. And don't forget, Jerry Reynolds, 4:00 Wednesday afternoon, right here on If You Don't Like That. Thank you very much for your support. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.